Yeah, beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Beat your addiction, live free. Ralf Friedrichs is who you see. Listen in when you're feeling low. Take back your life, today's show. Stay positive, hope, and keep faith. Stand strong against any odds that you face. Put away the alcohol and the drugs. Fill your time with the things you love. Addiction is tough, but it's worth the work. Treat your body what it's worth. Spread positivity, inspire all. If we stand together, we will never fall. I help others see the other sides to life. A sober life, letting go of the strife. So give me a call, I can help. 1-844-4405-HELP. Homeless shelters, hospitals, jails, wherever you are. I am Ralf Friedrichs and I am here for you. 1-844-405-HELP. Yeah, change your future, starts today. Live life to the fullest, never skip a day. Create hope, spread positivity. Beat your addictions and negativity. Ralf Friedrichs is here for you. Call today so we can help you. 1-844-405-HELP. 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 We are here for you. Call us today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Take Your Life Back Today show. Today's topic is 5 reasons you'll never get sober and remain miserable. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an addiction recovery coach and the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, let me share this about substance abuse. I want to leave an everlasting impression upon you all. Imagine you've been buried alive. Let's say you're in the coffin, you don't know how to open your coffin, and you push the enormous weight of the dirt above. You think of giving up and just laying there and waiting for death to arrive. But you also think about banging on the coffin so that maybe you will unsettle some of the dirt, and just maybe somebody might notice and start digging their way down to you to help you. That is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help, you know you can't do it completely on your own, but you also don't know how to get help. In reality, there are people who can help you standing nearby the grave, but you just don't know that. You think you're going to die today, there. Usually, though, people don't think of death when they're habitually using drugs. In order to defeat an addiction, you have to be good at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind when you're abusing drugs and alcohol, drinking a lot, snorting a lot? Did it ever cross your mind that just maybe you might overdose? With this, I'd like to leave one other thought. Don't be that person in the coffin banging for someone to hear for you to get help. Make the first move. Take the first step. Take the step to get your life back before your life is gone. Get a hold of Larry Geis at the Geis Academy at 516-485-2741. That's 516-485-2741. That's Larry Geis. You can also Google him on odysseyconsultant.org. That's odysseyconsultant.org. Larry Geis is an addiction recovery coach. He will help you from your addiction to your recovery hand in hand. Like myself, he will tell you firsthand, it doesn't matter where you've been. What does matter is where you're going. It is today and tomorrow that you need to focus on, folks. If you want to make that first step and find a new way to take your life back, get a hold of Larry Geis at 516-485-2741. GlobalEyeglasses.com. They are focused, and I mean focused, on saving you money. If you need glasses, plastic, metal, or rimless frames, they have them. If you want lenses like progressives, transitions, photochromatics, polarized, anti-reflecting coating, scratch coating, UV coating, they have all of the ones I just mentioned. Folks, get a hold of Larry Geis at the Geis Academy. Get a hold of GlobalEyeglasses.com, and let all start focusing on Larry while you're focusing on saving money. 5 reasons you'll never get sober, and you will, and I promise you, you will remain miserable. Getting sober is hard. It's a very strange phenomenon. With all the pain, heartbreak, trouble with the law, family, turmoil, and health that goes hand in hand with addiction, in some ways it is easier to continue using drugs for a lot of people. Getting sober requires action. It requires doing things that you don't normally want to do. Most importantly, it requires you to have faith and in some way rely on that faith. Most importantly, it does also require dedication, and it requires you to admit you have a problem. But at the end, it would all pay off. That's why they call it the leap of faith. To get sober demands blind faith that you're going to get help today. is somehow going to pay off in the future. You need to have that faith in that. That is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. It is against the nature of majority of people, I might even add. For many people, the drugs and alcohol are the comfort zone that they love to go into. It's like laying in bed of thorns for them. Sobriety has been a doorway into a life of freedom that only those who have been shackled by addiction will ever understand. The problem is, you will never know what freedom feels like. And I do apologize for that. Unless, of course, you can get out of your comfort zone. If you can overcome these roadblocks, you will have everything you need to stay sober. You can find freedom. All right, folks, follow me. Let's get started with the 5 reasons you'll never get sober and stay miserable. You can't get honest with yourself. That is so important because you need to be transparent, not just to people around you and pretending. Be transparent to yourself. Let's not sugarcoat this. Getting honest with yourself is not easy. It is much easier to live in denial. The problem is you cannot hide from the truth. I've always considered it to be one of those universal truths. No matter what happens, you'll always know in your heart what the truth is. It's much like being in love or knowing if you did your best or not. You just know inside your heart and the gut what is the truth. You cannot escape it. You can only deny it. You can only hide the safe bubble wrap of your false reality. Getting honest with yourself requires you to be exposed and to be vulnerable. It requires that you see yourself for what you really are. If you want to get sober, you are going to admit that there is a problem. That is the first step. That is the only way to start. Number 2, you're unwilling to do the work. And that getting sober and living recovery requires a lot of work, 24 hours at a time. Sobriety isn't free, folks. Recovery from any substance requires work. It requires you taking the time and making a long-term commitment to work on yourself. It sucks, but it's so well worth it at the end. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to reach sobriety. You have to be willing to go to a meeting when your favorite TV show might be on. You have to be willing to say no at a party or say no to going to a bar. You have to be willing to go to a meeting even on a weekend. On a Saturday morning or on a Sunday morning, you need to require to go to that meeting. Sobriety is not for those that want it or even those who need it. It is for those that do it. Number 3, you refuse to have an open mind. For most addicts, recovery is a completely new way of life. It is an alien and strange and confusing. In order to get clean and sober, you must be open-minded to new ideas. If you're stuck in your ways, if you're convinced that you know best, you will never get sober. You need to open your mind. Number 4, you don't have the stamina. Tell me if you have seen this before. You're fresh out of rehab. You're on fire. You're all hyped up. You are so motivated. You're participating in your recovery. You're taking suggestions. You're doing everything you can. You get maybe 9 months of clean time and you say to yourself, you know what? I can probably take it easy now. You sprint right out of the gate in your recovery, but eventually you die down. Slowly, old thoughts and obsessions start to creep in again. You tell yourself you don't need to go to that therapy meeting, or you know already everything you need to know. You think you did. 3 months later, you're lying on a bathroom floor with a few empty bottles right next to you and a few missing from the liquor shelf. Happens all the time. I would know. It has happened to me. I have learned that recovery is a lifelong process that requires stamina. It requires you to take your life a step at a time and to get stuck in the past or in the future you don't want to. It requires you to be in the present time. Stamina is like when you're running a marathon. You need to pace yourself in recovery, and sobriety is the same. If you don't have the stamina, you may suffer the most unfortunate results of all. That is to spend your entire life being miserable. Number 5, you simply do not want it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen. Let's pretend that you're drunk or high or in withdrawal. You are begging and pleading for help. You're a family member and your loved ones are crushed from what they are witnessing from your actions. Yet, what do? You keep smoking, you keep drinking. Why would a person keep doing this to themselves, other people ask. It's actually very simple. It's what they want to do. The simple truth is that if you don't want to get sober, you never will. No matter how much your family begs you or how many times you get arrested, you'll need to want to stay sober more than you want to drink. The desires have to be overcoming the desires to drink. It's really that simple. It is all worth it. I don't make promises, folks. I never use words like trust me. If someone says those words to me, I immediately think they are lying. But this is one of the things in life that I have found to be true with absolute certainty. If you can be honest about yourself, if you are willing to do the work, if you can have an open mind to concepts you may not understand, and if you can get sober, most importantly, if you want it bad enough, you can live the life that you have always wanted and more. It's absolutely possible, and I believe you, my friend, can do it. It doesn't happen overnight, but I can promise you this, that anyone who has done the work will tell you that it was all worth it 24 hours at a time. I do not think everyone or anyone who has done the work will tell you that being sober is not worth the sacrifice. And if somebody has that to say, then I don't think they're being honest. 5 reasons you'll never get sober, and you, my friends, will remain miserable. Getting sober is hard. It's a very strange phenomenon. With all the pain and heartbreak, trouble with the law, family turmoil, ill health that goes hand in hand with addiction, in some ways it is easy to continue using drugs. And I get it because I've been there. Getting sober requires actions, not just words. It requires doing the things you don't want to do. Most importantly, it requires you to have faith that in some way, somehow, it will all pay off at the end. That's why they call it take the leap of faith. To get sober demands blind faith that you're going to do, are doing today, is somehow going to pay off into the future, or in the future. That's very uncomfortable. It is against the nature of the majority of people. For many people, the drugs and alcohol are a comfort zone. It's like laying in bed of thorns. Sobriety has a doorway into life of freedom that only those who have been shackled by addiction will ever understand. The problem is, you'll never know what freedom feels like unless you start making the changes today, unless you start becoming more transparent today, unless, of course, you can get out of your comfort zone. If you can overcome these roadblocks, you'll have everything you need to get sober and stay sober. You can find freedom. Let's discuss the 5 things that will not get you sober and the 5 things that will make you remain miserable. You can't get honest with yourself. Folks, you need to be honest with yourself. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see someone that can truly say they have given up on drugs and alcohol? Or do you see somebody kind of like sitting up there saying, well, I can go without it for a couple days and maybe have 1 or 2? Do you see yourself in the closet drinking? Do you see yourself hiding in a shed like I used to do drinking? Do you see yourself going behind buildings to sip vodka like I used to do? You're not being honest with yourself. It doesn't matter that you're fooling everybody else. You're not fooling yourself. Number 2, you are unwilling to do the work. And sobriety and recovery requires 24 hours a day. Folks, I live and breathe sobriety. This is why AA did not work for me, because an hour and a half, 2 hours a day didn't work for me. This is why I created the Take Your Life Back Today show. This is why I created clearviews.info and clearreform.com and all the pages on Twitter, Facebook, Google, Dig, Pinterest. Because this is all 24/7 rehab for me. And selfishly, I'm telling you right now, when I do these videos, I help me more than I help you. But if I help you, I think that's even better. But I do this because all this, what I'm reading to you, anything I have memorized, is all absorbed prior to the video. It is all absorbed after the video when I produce it. So this is all knowledge going into my brain, which is like a sponge, just absorbing. And I do this from morning until night, until I lay my head down and get some rest, and then I start all over again. And I've been doing this, if I had to count the days, I don't know, I would say close to 800 and something days now. That's a lot of 800 and something 24-hour shifts of sobriety, because you can only work with 24 hours at a time, folks. Number 3, you need to have an open mind, because if you refuse to have an open mind, you will never, ever, ever live sober or in recovery. For most addicts, recovery is a completely new way of life. It is an alien and strange and confusing. In order to get clean and sober, you must be open-minded to new ideas. If you're stuck in your ways, if you're convinced that you know best, you'll never get sober. Number 4, you need to have stamina. Folks, if you're going to run a race or a marathon, you pace yourself. The same applies to sobriety. Tell me, if you've seen this before, you're fresh out of rehab, you are on fire and motivated. You're participating in your recovery, you're taking suggestions, you're doing everything you can to work at. You get maybe 9 months clean time, and you say to yourself, you know what? I can probably take it easy now. I've done it already. I am 100% better. 3 months later, you find yourself on the bathroom floor with a few empty bottles of bottom shelf liquor. And you go into the living room, you see those bottles missing from the shelf that held the liquor. Folks, happens all the time. I would know. It's happened to me. I have learned that recovery is a lifelong process that requires stamina and pacing yourself. It requires you to take your life a step at a time, 24 hours at a time. It requires you to be present. Don't live on yesterday or last week. Live today and tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. It doesn't matter where you've been. What matters is where you are today and where you're going tomorrow. Last but not least is number 5. You simply don't want it. If you say you want recovery and sobriety, but your actions tell me otherwise, you don't want it. I can tell you how many times I've seen this happen before to people. Let's pretend that you're drunk or high or in withdrawal. You're begging and pleading for help. Your family members and loved ones are crushed from what they are witnessing, yet you keep drinking. Why would a person keep doing this to themselves? It's actually very simple. It's what they want to do. Listen to this quote. The simple truth is that if you don't want to get sober, you never will. The simple truth is that if you don't want to get sober, you never will. Simple words. No matter how much your family begs you or how many times you get arrested, you will need to want to stay sober more than you want to drink. It's really that simple, and it's all worth it at the end. I don't make promises to my audience. I never use the words trust me. If someone says those words to me, I immediately think they're lying to me. But this is one thing in life I have found to be true with absolute certainty, folks. If you can be honest about yourself, if you're willing to do the work, if you can be open-minded to concepts you may not understand, and then, and only then, you can get sober. Most importantly, if you want it bad enough, you can live the life that you have been always wanting. It is absolutely possible, and I believe that you can do it. I believe in you. It doesn't happen overnight, but I can promise you that anyone who has done the work will tell you that it was all worth it when it was completed. I do not think anyone who has done the work will tell you that being sober was not worth the sacrifice they had to do. Start today. The first step is being honest with yourself. Break the wall of denial, folks. When you're honest with yourself, you become honest with other people. Reach for your higher power. Let God guide and direct you through all these problems, whether it's alcohol, drug addiction, whether it's financial. Get God involved in your life. A sober day promises you a better tomorrow. Lead by example. Teach your children not to smoke or do drugs. And all the changes we talk about all only happen with baby small steps. Nobody can get from one side of the road to the other side of the road with one giant leap. Take the small steps. 24 hours at a time. At the end of the day, you'll appreciate that you're still sober, and when you wake up in the morning, it's even better when you remember that you were still sober. Folks, I hope to God, no matter where you are, you have the best day of your life. But I hope And I pray each and every show that no matter who's watching me out there, that you all have a sober rest of your life. Call me at 844-405-HELP and let me help you take your life back.
Yeah, change your future, starts today. Live life to the fullest, never skip a day. Create hope, spread positivity. Beat your addictions and negativity. Ralf Friedrichs is here for you. Call today so we can help you. 1-844-405-HELP. 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 We are here for you. Call us today. The show is over, but your life starts today. Taking back your life's the only way. Keep faith, stay positive, push through. Take back your life, it starts with you. Alcohol and drugs can't control your life. Let go of the negative and the strife. Ralf Friedrichs is the man guiding your way. The show is over, but your life starts today. Call Ralf Friedrichs at 1-844-405-HELP. That's 1-844-405-HELP. We hope you love the show today and tune in next time. Take back your life today show with Ralf Friedrichs.